Hello friends, today I'm going to help you understand, are lease options a good idea? Are lease options really a good idea? Well, by the end of this video, you'll not only understand the structure and functions of lease options, but also their strategic drawbacks and advantages for you as a real estate investor. I'll even explain how this real estate strategy of utilizing lease options might be the best strategy for you to be using right now. So what drives the appeal of lease options in today's real estate market? Are they really as beneficial as they appear, or are there some inherent risks that you're maybe not aware of but need to be? Well, I want to dive into this and actually guide you through this process by first explaining what a lease option is. Next, I'm going to explain how a lease option can be both a beneficial tool for the buyer and for the seller. And finally, I want to share with you what I'm doing in today's market with a strategy that could be awesome for you. If you're ready, let's go. So what is a lease option? So a lease option is when a seller plans to sell a home to a buyer that obviously wants to buy it, but here's the differences. The buyer is going to live there. It's also called a rent to own strategy. So the buyer is going to rent the home and eventually purchase the home at a certain price at a certain date down the road. And that price is typically negotiated from day one. So both the buyer and seller know when they enter into this lease option agreement on day one that either 12, 24, 36 months down the road, the buyer is going to execute on that home at that price at that date in the future. So how does all of this work? Well, whether it's the stock market, you've probably heard of stock options, where you have the option to buy a stock at a certain date in the future, but it's required of you to pay an option price to lock that in. This real estate strategy works the exact same way. So just like that stock, if you want to buy this home at this price at say 12 or 24 months down the road, it's required of you to pay the seller an option price right now to lock in that price at that date in the future. And typically an option price is anywhere between 2 to 7% of the overall purchase price of the home. So if you're buying a home that costs $400,000, at 2%, you're paying about $8,000, or at 7%, you're paying $28,000. And that can be negotiated even below 2%, and the seller could even negotiate above 7%. But that option price is what's going to lock you in to buy the home at that price at that date in the future. Now, one other interesting aspect and component of a lease option is that lease price every month, that monthly payment. One thing unique about this with lease options is you can negotiate a certain amount or percentage of that monthly lease that can be counted every single month and accumulated towards the down payment of the home. So let's give that home that $400,000 example. Let's say that the monthly lease payment is $3,000 a month. Let's say that you negotiated 10% or $300 towards your down payment at the end of the term, and the term is 24 months. So if $300 of that $3,000 payment is counted towards your down payment, over the course of 1 year, 300 times 12 is $3,600. And if the term is 2 years long, times that by 2, $7,200 is what you've accumulated over 2 years from your monthly rental payment that is going to be utilized by you to count towards your down payment or utilized towards your down payment. That's a pretty good scenario for you, the buyer. So let's look at both the buyer side and the seller side to understand the advantages for both and why both parties might agree and engage in this strategy. Well, if you're the buyer, as we talked about, number one, it allows you to lock in a price and to live in this home, to rent this home, test drive this home for a certain period of time and knowing what price you're going to pay for the home. Think about that. If you're renting a home and you want to buy a home and you say, hey, I'm going to rent for 2 years, but then I'm going to go start looking for homes, you might not know what to expect 2 years from now, what the market's going to do. And so having that uncertainty of not knowing what's going to happen 2 years after your lease is up, and typically you're going to have to start looking at about, say, 18 months into your 24-month lease, so you have enough time to put an offer on a home and to execute on it. Whereas with a lease option, you can find the home you want, you can lease it or rent it out, and you know exactly when you're going to buy the home, and you know exactly what price you're paying for the home. That's an absolute game changer for a buyer. Other advantages for a home buyer is that the reason you might be renting right now and not buying is the fact that you maybe don't have all of the finances or the financial history to get a loan, a traditional loan, to buy a home. But knowing that if you have another year or two of employment under your belt, that's going to show really well for you to be able to get a loan. It buys you that time and allows you to live in the home you're going to buy, the home that you want, all during the rental period that you're leasing the home. Now, one thing to note if you're the buyer, if you pay an option price to purchase that home at a certain date in the future and you do not execute and buy the home, you lose that option money. So if you paid, say, $8,000 to buy a $400,000 home at 2 years down the road and you don't execute on that, the seller keeps that $8,000 $10,000 and you're out that money. So that is a potential risk that you have as a buyer. Now, as a seller, why is this strategy potentially good for you? Well, number one, you receive some money up front for that option price for the buyer to buy it from you at that date down the road, right? So that could be, on the example we used with a $4,000 home, it could be an $8,000 payment, or it could be a $25,000 payment, just depending on whatever you receive. And if they don't execute on the purchase of the home, you keep all of that money. If they do execute, you count that towards the purchase price of the home, bringing down their overall purchase even less. And if it's a slow market, it's also a great alternative to be able to get a home under contract and allow you to have somebody paying your monthly mortgage every single month and knowing that you have a buyer in the bag who's going to buy your home and they're living at your home. So it's a great strategy when the markets might be slow to be able to move real estate. So whenever I talk about different strategies that I've utilized in real estate, I always get a question out there that says, well, this sounds good, but I don't have all of this money to go buy a single family home or a short-term rental or whatever strategy that I might be proposing. And so I get a lot of questions surrounding, are there any ways to do something like this with little to no money out of my pocket? And the answer is absolutely there is with this strategy. And I want to share it with you right now. And I want to utilize some actual numbers that I can show you on the board so you can know exactly how to do this. And this is called a sandwich lease option. Okay, let's say you're a real estate investor and you find a home that you want to do a lease option with. But here's the kicker. Instead of you living in that home, you're going to take the home that you got under contract as a lease option and you're going to turn around and do a lease option with somebody else. Let me show you how this is going to work. So number one, you have the seller of the home to you. We'll go through those numbers. After that, we got you to the buyer that you're going to sandwich this lease option to. Okay, so let's say you found a home and the sales price that the person is asking is maybe, let's say it's $350,000, but you're able to negotiate it down to $325,000. Okay, so $325,000. Now let's say that you go out and you find, maybe it's on a social media group, on a Facebook group, or maybe just in traditional market or through a realtor, you find somebody willing to pay and buy that home for $350,000. You've got the home under contract for $325,000. You've now found somebody else who wants to buy it from you at a certain date down the road for $350,000. Now you've put an option on this to buy it from the seller originally, so we've got to go through the rest of the components. So the option price, let's say that you negotiate that it's a $3,000 option price or down payment to secure that home at that price 2 years down the road. Okay, so $3,000, but let's say you turn around and you get a lease option price and you turn around and you get the price from this, say maybe $10,000. So number one, you've just made $7,000 right off the bat by not even owning a piece of property because you've got it under contract for the price to buy it at $325,000 24 months down the road, and the option you paid to do that was $3,000. But you turn around and found somebody who wants to live there and buy it from you, and they're paying you $10,000 for the opportunity and option to buy it from you at $350 down the road. So you could take that $10,000, give $3,000 to the seller, and pocket the $7,000. Now let's talk about the monthly payment. Now what I would do in this scenario is I would negotiate $2,500 monthly rent payment and turn around and give $2,700 would be the monthly rent payment towards the person that is buying it from me. And let's say the term is 2 years. So let's run through all the different ways that we make money in this. Well, number one, as I talked about, the option price. If we look at the option price and we say our option was $3,000, we turn around and sold the option to somebody else for $10,000, we've made a quick $7,000 in profit right there. So option one, we've made $7,000. Now the other way we made money is by increasing the rental price just a little bit. So we're at $2,500. We've then leased it for $2,700. So $200 a month times 24 months is $4,800. And then obviously there's the purchase price. There's a $25,000 difference in what I got it under contract for and what I've sold it to. So $25,000. But keep in mind that option price they paid you and a certain percentage of the monthly payment is going to be counted towards that. So let's just say it's $200, but you've made that $200. So that's a wash. But let's say that there's the $10,000 option price they paid you. You paid $3,000. There's $7,000 difference you kept. Let's figure out the total profit. So when I take out the $3,000 that I gave the person, that leaves me $25,000 minus $3,000 is $22,000 that I've pocketed on the purchase price when it's all executed. So adding all of that up, so the total profit that I made off a piece of property that I do not own or occupy with very little to no money out of my pocket is $33,800. Now this is a strategy, it's a sandwich lease option, and it's a phenomenal strategy that you can utilize with little to no money out of your pocket. But I'd be interested in what you've done or seen with lease options and how you've made them work for you as a real estate investor. So comment below, let's engage in a dialogue. And as always, just for stopping by and visiting, I've got a free gift for you. It's aaronsfreetraining.com. Click on the link below. It is a short-term rental calculator. You put in the price of the home, the income, minus out the expenses, and it spits out to you whether it's a good deal or not, and it's 100% free, no obligation. And thanks for stopping by. Have an amazing day.